Hello. Welcome to today's messages, where we tap in with our intuitions, read the information that arrives, and apply it or not in our lives, right? But first, let's tune in. Cleanse and clear the energy. Ooh. Beautiful. And we're in. Let's see what's gonna come up for us today as we release all of the expectations and allow a clear connection. And an openness to receive whatever wants to come out. Interbeing and awareness. Beautiful. And we got independence on the bottom. Awareness and interbeing. Well, isn't that just gorgeous? Okay. Oh, hi. Okay. 1 second. Ode, where were we? He's so cute. Okay, interbeing, a 15. This is our connection, our reflections, our connections, okay? And the awareness of your magic, okay? This is flying on a unicorn. Gorgeous. So animal elements, connections, spirit animals, protection. Beautiful. Beautifulness. Let's see what the Arcturians want to add to all that. Giles, what do you got for us? Liberations. Come on. Liberate yourself. Come on. Do. It's your liberation. Yeah. Things that hold you back. There it is. Liberation gives you the strength to let go of your judgments about yourself. The freedom that arises strengthens your self-esteem and self-image. Yeah, when we are holding ourselves back with, I can't, it's not possible, it can't happen, it won't, right? We end up self-prophesizing. So be aware of the words you are speaking and speak words of wisdom, okay? Speak empowerment. Speak words that you want self-prophesized, that you want to be true. And this is a huge rewiring process, right? Coming from generations that only spoke about the things that went wrong or the things that are awful, right? the old normalization of, well, if you think that's bad, wait, you'll hear this other thing, like where people are competing against each other on who's got it worse or who, you know, life sucks the most or whatever. And there's even that turn of phrase where it's like, well, if it makes you feel any better, you know, because of your awful thing, I'm going to share something worse, right? So you feel like you're better off because your awful thing's not as bad as my awful thing, right? Let's normalize. We do that with our joys, our successes, our strengths, our growths, our accomplishments, right? What's wrong with that? It's weird. But, there's a lot of sarcastic people out there. There's a lot of people who assume sarcasm. That's been my experience. People who aren't used to people speaking plainly and honestly. And, I had this woman that I just met when I was at the market last. And I was talking to this guy. He's a juggler. And I talked to him a few times through a mutual friend. And anyway, so I ran into him at the market. And so we were chatting a little bit. And then he's got this woman who he's got a farm or whatever, and she's been staying there. So she comes over, introduces herself, and she's just like, she looks at me and she's like, what do you do? Right. And I'm like, oh, I'm an artist. And she's like, oh, so do you cut your own hair or something like that? And I was like, oh yeah, it's a work in progress. And then later on we were talking and she was like, oh, and then later on we were talking more. And then when she realized that I'm like an artist, multi-passionate, like I do lots of different types of art, she circled back and was like, oh, so you really do cut your hair? And I'm like, I thought we already went over that, right? But I realized so many people will assume sarcasm. Like, I think she assumed that I wasn't actually being straight up true. I don't know. I've spent this long in my life trying to figure out why people think and respond the way they do, and I never get it. I don't get it. And it's hard to try to, to prepare for that, to assume in order to counteract. Like, the only thing I could do is to be like, every time I say something, be like, no, I really mean it. No, I really mean it. I'm not being sarcastic. Like, say something and be like, I'm not being sarcastic. Because, yeah, in my experience, people just assume you're being sarcastic. Same with like someone's trying to be sarcastic and I don't perceive it. And so I call it out, like, that's not right. And then they think I'm like challenging them in front of people, right? And I'm like, no, I just didn't get that was, I just saw the inaccuracy and was like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Anyways, it's a whole thing. I don't know why we went there. Liberate yourself from trying to figure out what other people want from you and just be, and they either get it or they don't. There you go. Boom. Okay, beautiful, Manas. This is gorgeous because we're talking about interbeing, right? And our connectedness with others, the reflection, the connections. Manas speaks about family and kin and rejoicing in that interbeingness and how one affects the whole, right? And this is exactly the kind of work that we're doing, and the awareness of how everything that you do internally affects your external, which affects the external, which affects the internal, which affects the external, and it goes on and on and on and on. This is our interbeingness, right? This is our oneness with all. Beautiful. Okay, let's just get the thing here. See if anything else comes up. Humanity, intelligence, awareness. Beautiful, right? We got double awareness as well as interbeingness. Society and learning. Lessons learned by one generation are then passed down to those that follow, continuing to strengthen and protect the clan. So, like the work that you do on yourself now is not going to be passed on to the next generation. Like at the beginning, well, we're still at the beginning, but before. Before now, when we were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, dropped the interbeingness. One second. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Ouch. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Okay, hi. Okay, interbeingness. Okay, where were we? Kin affecting. Oh yes, the idea of normalizing, right? That normalizing, talking about your challenges versus and in comparison, right? Versus talking about your wins, your successes, your joys. That is something that we pass on generationally. Because we're looking up to our nurturers, right? And they are modeling, and that's how they speak, that's what they share. And so, that's what they encourage from you. And when you're like, oh, well, something amazing happened, and they're like, oh, aren't you, special, right? Everybody else here is talking about all the awful stuff, and here you are talking about something nice. What are you, Delulu, right? Or whatever. And that stamps us down, right? It shuts us down, makes us go within. Anyways, the other side is where we were going with this, and how each generation leaves its lessons for the next to carry on. And so being somebody who's like, nope, I'm no longer doing that. I'm not going to continue to normalize something that makes everybody feel awful after they have a conversation, right? Everybody's like, oh, mine was bad. Oh, mine was worse. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh. That's how people used to communicate. It blows my mind. So this normalizing about our wins, our successes, and have that be carried forward, have that as how we raise our children, right? What made you happy? What made you joyful? What was so great about your day? When did you smile? What made you smile, right? All of these things. Okay. So liberate yourself from the old ways of doing things that hold you back, right? And your awareness of how you're doing things. And if you're doing them out of conditioned responses, habits, and ancestral patterns, right? And then making the necessary adjustments. It starts with awareness. Yay! Butterflies dancing together. And one went into my yard. And I can't see where it went. I feel like they might be like fighting. Like it's a territory thing. But I prefer that they are dancing. Okay. They're sharing information. And this awareness about you get to choose what you are witnessing, right? I want to say, like, eagles. Apparently, when eagles fight and when they bow, chicka bow wow, it kind of looks similar in the sky. because they lock talons and they do this thing. I don't know how they do it. I think they're just playing. I don't know what they're doing anyways. But if you're left to assume, be aware of what you're assuming. Something like that. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. I thought this is giving me legacy, especially because we were talking about what you're leaving behind, right? For the generations to come. And this liberation, this liberating your ancestral line from limiting beliefs and patterns and moving into empowerment. That's a beautiful thing. Okay. So the thing with this 10 of Pentacles, which is, abundance and gorgeousness, but it speaks to legacy because you got the generations here. They're all have the halos. And we've got this tree, which, anything about trees, that the age of this tree is not a young pup, right? And for it to get to this stage where it's now blooming and growing and blossoming and producing like mega, this is the legacy, right? Think of like a property with a tree that's been growing for 60 plus years, and then your generation, you start fueling that tree with love, with potential, with possibility, which is potential, right? And now it starts to bloom. So something about what you are feeding contributes to the bloom. I mean, this makes sense, right? We pour toxins into the ground and we get toxic results. Butterfly. Oh, I think it was a white one. White and black. A white swallowtail. But if you feed it with love, then, in nurturing, same with us. This is the thing, right? The environments that we grow up in, yes, there we are lotuses in the mud, right? But there are plenty of beautiful, prosperous blooms that are growing in rich, fertile soil. That doesn't have to grow up in struggle and chaos in order to be beautiful, right? Something like that. Okay. Something along those lines. Let's get more cards out here. What's this? This is the end of the old way of experiencing life. Okay. This is the liberation that you're liberating yourself from, the things, the doubts, the fears, everything that holds you down, limits your perspective, your movement forward. Your experience helps you recognize this state, right? This is this card to me. You liberate yourself by removing the things that hold you back, okay? And that's what we're talking about here. And this is the experience, okay? This is the legacy. This is your hands-on maintaining of the ancestral property that you inherited. It's like for generations, your family used Roundup, right? And how that affects the whole. It leaches into the ground. It poisons bees, bugs, and birds, right? and other animals through, what is it? I forget the name of the poisoning, where when you eat something that has been poisoned, it's like secondary poisoning. Anyways, and you inherited the property, and you're just like, they're like, oh yeah, or in the will or whatever. And, you got case loads of Roundup to use for all your weed problems. And you're like, no, I'm not going to poison my environment with that crap. And so you find the right recycling receptacles to unload all that onto. And you start using baking soda and vinegar, okay? And pulling the weeds and researching them and understanding that the only reason why those weeds are growing there is because you're low on pH. And once you change the pH, those weeds disappear on their own because they're no longer necessary, right? A lot of the like dandelions and stuff like that, they'll help to soften hard soil. So they often grow in places where it's really dense, non-nutrient soils. Plants are here to help, okay? Okay. We've got the hermit. Okay, this is something that you need to do on your own. It is your own personal experience that you apply in your life, right? It's your being held backness, it's your wounds, it's all those times that you can look back on and reference with your awareness, right? When you were held back from things, from disbeliefs. I can't do that, it can't be done. And so you don't. And then you see somebody else doing it and you're like, dang it, I guess it is possible. But my limiting beliefs kept me from realizing that. So next time, maybe you consider it a little longer. Maybe you take a couple steps in that direction, right? It's a process. Okay. But it's a solo process. This is stuff that is happening internally. We can share it with our loved ones. They can see evidence of the ups and the downs of it, but this is something that we are all meant to do in our own internal spaces, and that is the true hermit. Yes, there's external hermits, people who shun others, right? Who, or not even shun, also just avoid completely, or live a solitary life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hermits unite separately in their own homes, right? But in the spiritual journey, which does often sometimes require levels of hermiting, of pulling away from crowds in order to still find stillness and silence, to go within and deal, right? To see what is yours. When you're constantly around people, it's hard to recognize what is yours. Butterfly just came right at me. Where'd you go? That was crazy. Okay. We've got the Ace of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. So this is this process, okay? Especially coming after this Hermit. This is for me, the validating everything that I was just talking about. That process of becoming an overflowing cup of liquid sunshine, right? This is self-recognition. This is self-awareness. This is why it's an internal job. It's your awareness. It's your self, your recognition of patterns, and your commitment to shifting the pattern, breaking the pattern, changing the pattern, right? Once you become an overflowing cup, you are overflowing liquid sunshine. So this is your fertile love juice, right? This is your alternative to the Roundup. And this puts you in a position of one, able to receive manifestations. But as a page, this is new, right? This is still not quite, this is like the recognition that I can manifest what I wish, right? This person's like, that wish is like, I could almost, is it coming to me? is that for me, right? And also like the hand, it's like learning how to receive, right? But you had to get to this stage first in order to receive. Yeah, something about your patience and your removing your liberation from the limiting beliefs. I mean, it's black and white, right? If you have a limiting belief that you cannot create things with your intentions, then this will be true, right? There you go, something from the beginning, right? If so, liberate yourself from those limiting beliefs, change them into potential, into possibility, and work with your brain, right? Don't make something so grandiose that your own mind is like, as soon as you say it, right? It's like, yeah, okay, sure, right? So instead, find the right wording that your brain can be cool with, right? Your brain can be like, okay, sure, yeah. And then you gotta coax it, right? This is why you can't just switch from I don't believe that to I believe, right? I mean, for some people, they have those kinds of experiences that helps to switch, but those are usually divinely intervened situations, right? Okay, what do we got? We've got standing firm in your truth, okay? The sentinel who protects your truth, who guards. This is the bouncer, the one who stands in front of the portal and determines who gets to come and go, right? Can I see your ID? Well, limiting beliefs, doubts, fears, you're out of here, right? But no, go spend some time at that, Donair shop, food truck of your choice on the corner. That's full of liberation and pattern breaking recognition and all of the things that can support you. And when you are full of hope and love and peace, then you can come in, right? Then I welcome you here. Okay. Okay, 6 of Wands. This is victory, balancing masculine and feminine, finding that sweet, sweet spot between your being and your doing, right? Your action and your consideration, your reflection and your release. This is all necessary part of the goldening of your juices. The goldening of your juices, okay? And then we've got the Knight of Pentacles, and this is going over here. So look at this beautiful. We've got the star here. We've got this person who's like, I think this wish is for me. I think this is something this star that I've wished for is getting closer to me. It wants to be mine, right? And while you are patiently waiting to receive it, as it is turning into something tangible, there is a certain level of preparedness, right? The knight here is wearing patchwork armor. Patchwork takes a lot of time, okay? Ready for action in whatever way that looks. Ready to follow that star wherever it touches ground, right? So that's a beautiful situation here. Yeah, I'm really getting that grounding in, right? Like he's plunking that sword straight down and he's just like giving Gandalf vibes. You shall not pass, right? To the bedrock. Is it the bedrock? No. The bell gawk. No. What is he called? The ball rock? I don't know. The guy with the horns. Okay. The guy with the horns. I don't think he was a guy. I think he was a beast. Who knows? I don't know his backstory. Could be some cursed dude from many, many years ago who finally got out and he was asking Gandalf for help. Gandalf was like too busy trying to protect the dwarves. He misunderstood. And then he had to follow him into the pits of the mountain to be reborn. I don't know, it's a whole thing. Okay, you know the story. What do we got here? Okay, confirmation that your emotional regularity is turning your wheel in your favor. Okay, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous because this has been coming up for us a lot in the last few readings. Okay, the importance of this momentum that you build by maintaining your emotional regularity, by choosing love over fear, right? This is the active protection of your emotional state. And this isn't avoiding sadness, grief, loss, anger, pain, whatever. It's about the awareness of how your emotions are serving you. Maybe. It's like when you catch yourself feeling anxious, you become aware of it. Now you know I'm anxious because of this thing. Anxiety is fear, right? It's a loss of control. I'm anxious about a situation because I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know how to properly prepare myself. I don't know so many of the unknown things, and it's giving me anxiety because of this fear, right? This fear in the unknown, in the uncontrollable. What if something happens and I don't know what to do, right? What if whatever? And this is becoming aware, recognizing it, and recoining it to serve you. I may not know, but it's going to be okay, right? I may be walking into the unknown, but I am confident that no matter what I come up against, I am going to be cool, right? This is the mindfulness, okay, I need to feel these feelings to heal it. and I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to bawl my eyes out. I'm going to shake my fists at the sky. I'm going to pound the ground, and then I'm going to dust myself off, get up, and find something peaceful and beautiful to pull myself out. This is about beautiful things to focus on instead of the things like a mermaid. Where'd it go? Okay. Shifting focus, my point. Shift focus. Be mindful of where you're hanging out and for how long, right? You know when you're going a little too far. You know when you've lingered a little too long. Be intentional. You know, I'm feeling this way. I'm going to allow myself to feel this way for this long. And then I'm going to make good use of that time. And then when that time's up, when the timer goes off, then it's time to start moving forward, to get my momentum back, right? To get back on the love train. Breaks are fine. Breaks are fine along the way. It's when and it's part of our balance, right? It's part of our ebb and flow. But there's excess. There's excess ebbing and there's excess flowing. And this is about finding the sweet spot, right? And you acquire that knowing through your experience. So I was making tortillas. Okay, I've been making tortillas and I love it. Anyways, I've made them enough now that I'm starting to get a sense, like a feel of how much dough to ball to get, a decent sized tortilla. And this comes with experience. This comes with handling of the dough, pulling out a piece, rolling it out, seeing what size it is, and then next time being like, okay, I need to take a little bit more than the last time. And, it's this gradual feeling out. This is what your experience allows you. Is the gradual feeling out, right? This is what your time being pinned down affords you, an appreciation for freedom, right? The guy who's been hung upside down on a wall for 50 years is going to appreciate the next 50 years, running around right side up in the world a lot more than just an average Joe who's always just been running around, right? Okay. We've got the Four of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups. So this is beautiful. This is your balancing of all of your aspects. Part of this living experience is to experience, okay, all of the things, the full range of emotions that we have. This is why it's important to balance and temper and be mindful of how and where and why, right? It's just like the balance of the flying bird. If it flaps one wing too many times, it's gonna go in a circle. Okay, first it's gonna veer and then it's gonna start spinning in a circle and not getting anywhere. And so you got to counteract it with the right amount on the other side, right? And then you find the right way and now you're going straight. So something about that, because this one is that tapping in, grounded, connected, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, spirit connected team. This is also the Hermit, right? This personal, internal state And then the Queen of Cups, she lives from her heart space. She flows. She's creative. She's non-resistant, okay, compassionate, caring, capable, nurturing. She's the queen of the love sauce, okay? Yes, beautiful. This is why your protector, your bouncer, isn't like somebody's like, hey, I'd like to come in there. Let me see your ID. Oh, no, you're full of doubt. You're full of fear. You're full of, ancestral patterns. Go check out over there, right? Here's some resources for you to go to. You're welcome to come in, but you need these certifications before you come in here, right? Instead of doubt, fear, limitations, off with your head, right? That would be the overcorrecting, the shadow aspect. And we've all chopped a few heads in our life. That's part of the process, okay? But this is living from the heart space. This is this recognition that we're all in various stages of getting there. That person whose ID is fear and limiting beliefs and doubts, right? That they are also capable of rewiring, releasing, and letting go and liberating themselves. So we all can party like it's 1999. Okay, that was the Hierophant. Your self-mastery is through your dedication. Your dedication, there's the butterfly. With yourself, okay, with your heart, with your process, with your unfolding, with your blooming, with your legacy. You are the tree. That is hitting its prolific fruiting stage. Beautiful, oh yes, do-do-do-do. It's a celebration, okay? And it's balance, it's joy, it's sunshine, it's heart, solar vibes, okay? Look at it, look at how gorgeous, yes. And abundant. Look at all the blooms, right? And you can see me. I'm like right in behind. Oh, I just went behind that pole. You missed me. I'm busy dancing with the butterflies. Okay, but there's the balance, right? The sturdiness, the stableness. This is the sturdy, stable pavilion. This is that gorgeous, what plant is that? The wisteria, okay, that for years has been growing around your pergola, and those two butterflies. It is finally blooming and gorgeous and covering it, and you're like, finally we can have our celebration because the blooms are right. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool. Okay, let's see who else wants to come out. I had a moment with these cards. I saw the deck was standing, or the book was standing out to me. Now these ones are also tarot, but they're based on like somebody took fairy tales from all over the world. Oh, that was satisfying. And connected them to the tarot. And so I don't read them the same. These ones developed based on the visuals. These ones don't do the same thing for me. So I refer to the book. When I try to put, like, say, I get a similar, like the Four of Wands, right? If I were to get the Four of Wands from this deck, and try to apply what it means in this deck, it doesn't seem to work the same. So we just go to the book, okay? Okay. So why don't we pull some out as confirmations, or just let them come out on their own? Okay. We're just letting them come out on their own, because things got crazy. Okay, this one fell over on your Wheel of Fortune. And it's the King of Wands. Okay, so action, passion. Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna do that, was I? I was gonna read the book. I did this whole preface thing. Okay, King of Wands. Honesty, passion, leadership, charm, and flexibility. There you go. The King of Wands is a symbol of strength. The legend of the phoenix spans many cultures, but in all of them, the firebird represents nobility, rebirth, strength, and loyalty. See? So that's beautiful. And I was gonna say, but I didn't, this peacock was standing out on her forehead here, holding the light, the candle on its head. So it's like lighting the way with your peacockness. Okay, your rebirth energy, something like that. This validates the Wheel of Fortune, the things turning, right? Your end of the old way of being. Oh, this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. The end of your stuck on the ground and you transformed into a freaking bird. Like whoa, right? Okay. And then we've got the King of Cups down here and the Three of Coins. Okay, that's beautiful because we do have the Queen of Cups down here. Okay. So let's see what that's about. Okay. Three of Coins. Studying, growth, collaboration, success, and recognition. And the King of Cups, because they did come together. Oh no. Oh yeah. The King of Cups. Devotion, loyalty, faithfulness, wisdom, and generosity. The King of Cups was once a little boy, but has matured into a powerful dragon. He is kind but fiercely protective of those he loves. He is connected to the deep, dark waters of the subconscious. He possesses great patience and wisdom. The Boy and the Dragon Pearl. Ooh, which is kind of gorgeous, okay, because we've got this watery leading from her heart space Queen of Cups. Look at their swirls together. Gorgeous. It's also this queen and her dragon, her protector, right? Like the environment that she floats in. I go to river dragons, and our river analogies, we are flowing with it. Also, I had a dream where I met a dragon and I wrote it, and it was a whole thing. And so there's something about that in collaboration. Okay, so holding your maintaining your vetting of who's allowed at your party is going to lead to collaboration and gorgeous, like a reciprocating environment. It's like she gives the dragon purpose because the dragon is her protector, but she also nurtures the waters that is the dragon. So it's like this, it's this balance. Okay, this is a thing with divine counterparts, which the King and Queen of Cups are. Divine counterparts, they offer what it's like, when you go camping with somebody and you forget stuff, but they bring it. It's like that, right? The stuff that they're like, oh, we need this thing, and they don't have it. You have it. And, oh, I forgot to bring this thing. You didn't have it, but they have it. This kind of balance. Which, I think is the baseline of all good collaborations, nations. What's this butterfly doing? Let's look. There's no blooms over there. See how fast they are? There's no blooms over there either. What are you doing, you weirdo? There you go, getting closer. Yep, there they are. Where'd he go? Or where did she go? Anyways, okay. I used to play with a camcorder. That's what they used to call cameras back in my day, right? It was like a separate device that wasn't attached to your phone. And I would do stuff like that. And then when I'd go to show like my mom or whatever, she'd be like, oh, like getting motion sickness because I'm like all over the place. So sorry if I caused you some nausea. Okay. Okay, so that's beautiful. What else? What else? Should we get all the tarot? Okay, let's do it. Let's get all the tarot. This one is a gorgeous deck too. Look at all that foil. It's that butterfly again. What are you doing? Crazy butterfly. But yeah, look at this foily foil. My other cards used to have foil, but I think it was just like cheap foil because it's all gone. All of it is gone. Okay, let's take that one and that one. Whoa, that one flew all the way onto the floor. one time we go through here. Okay, and then there's this one flipped. Okay, what the? We got this one on the floor, which is the Empress. And we got this one on the floor. And it is the High Priestess. Whoa. Okay. What are these ones? I don't know, but they're all major arcanas. Crazy. Okay. We got 9 cards, and 6 of them are major arcanas. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay those all right there. And then the other 3 are cups. Ace, 7, and a page. Crazy. Okay. Let's just do a thing here. Okay. Okay, cups. Ace, no. Wands. Cups. Page. Someone who is sweet but easily roused to fits of passion could represent a messenger or the birth of a child. Something new this way comes. Wild strawberry. Something with potential for abundance, right? Strawberries, they are kind of prolific if they are growing in the right soil. Okay. And then we've got 7. Beautiful. Freedom. Adaptability. Anything is possible. If one can imagine it, one can create it. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah. Okay, and it's abundance, fertility, productivity, true beauty, the start of a great love. Okay, and there's a lotus and the overflowing cup. This is also the Ace of Cups. Okay, we talked about the lotus and the environment that lotus is blooming. It wants to go by the dragon. Okay, now we're going into the heavy hitters. It's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Let's see. Who is it? I don't know all these symbols here. Okay, the High Priestess. Where are ya? Intuition, a rich interior life. Beautiful. Where is a hermit? And this is the thing, right? Internally manifesting externally. Intuition, rich interior life, inner wisdom, hidden secrets, and magic. And it's the elderberry flower, which I'm currently obsessed with. It's delicious. Elderberry flower syrup is what I get at the market. which I might get some more today. Okay. And then we've got, who else? Who else is here? Oh, the Emperor. Get the frick out. We got the Emperor and the Empress together. So I don't know. Divine counterparts. Dominion, a power being exerted, an organizer, a leader, the positive results of hard work. Okay. Oh my God, an hour again. What is up with that? Okay. And then oh no, it's not the Empress. Okay. It's the Hierophant. There you go. Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. It's the Hierophant, a respected teacher, a guiding hand, spiritual enlightenment. Okay. This is part of your experience. It was a necessary part of your liberation of self, right? To liberate self, you need something to be liberated from. This is part of our process. This is the cocoon that was a safe environment meant for us to transform, becomes the cage in which we must break free from in order to fly, right? Something like that. Okay. And who else? Who else? So many people. Okay, we got Justice with the gladiolas. It's the right time. Everything has lined up correctly. Success is imminent. Wow. These cards are beautiful. Why don't I use them more often? Okay, we've got Temperance. Beautiful. Adaptability, purification, self-control, balance leads to success. The Water Iris, which is giving me Queen of Cups vibes. Oops, wrong way. This way. King and Queen of Cups. Because he is definitely a water dragon. Look at the bubbles. Okay, so that's kind of gorgeous. And we've also got, who this? Who this? The World. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Travel, change, union, and reunion. A swell of pride at achieving success. The path of liberation. There it is. Wow. And look at your fruit. It's ripe. You're so ripe with your fruit. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. I went on for a day. So sorry. But this is where we're at. This is what we're doing here. This is what happens. Okay. Beautiful. We've got balancing, collaboration, gorgeousness. Oh my God, so much, so many. But look at like every single one of those confirmation tarot cards were positive, were empowering, were gorgeous. Okay. And so this really leads me back to that interbeing, our interconnectedness, our awareness of where we've come from, what we're releasing, the experiences that we've had, and how it all contributes to our legacy, to the things that we leave behind, right? Every pattern you break is a pattern that the next generation doesn't have to deal with. That's huge. That's huge, right? Yes. Abundance, freedom, freedom, right? This wheel turning is in tandem with your phoenix rising. You're becoming a flyer after, like, the liberation, after stagnation, after being stuck in the old ways. Okay? Wow. Beautiful, gorgeous, just like you. Thank you for being here. I love and appreciate you. And I hope to see you another day at another time. Okay, bye for now.